Have you ever been a bully?
Have I ever been one?
Have you ever been a bully?
That's such a serious question, Kyle.
I mean, depends on how serious of a bully you were.
Like, in a way that was like, Emily doesn't know how to socialize correctly.
Explain that for me, our audience, and the world at large. And for all of the children of the future.
I feel like there are times when I've not been like a bully like Biff from Back to the Future.
You know, I just didn't know how to act socially, and so I lifted someone up by their leg and shook out all their lunch money.
No, I don't think I was ever a bully. I feel like a bully has
never
a particular...
intentionally a bully.
Certainly never intentionally, no. But there might be people out there who think of me as a not nice person. I don't know.
Oh,
what are
wow,
the parameters
this got way too
in
existential.
Now
here's a laugh. I was a bully at one point. I know that at one point when I was a young kid, I was, you know... there were people on the bus, they were being cool, they were making fun of a kid, and I was like, ah, ha, 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 yeah, and then the kid got upset, and then I was like, oh, this is bullying, and from then on I never did it, you know?
Sure.
I was like 27, 28.
Welcome to Butter No Parsnips. Every week on Butter No Parsnips, your hosts Kyle Imperator and Emily Moyers take you on an adventure through the weird, wacky, wonderful, and sometimes even wicked world of one wayside word. Strange characters, delightful bits, and general joyousness abound. Join them as they test each other's etymological expertise.
Hey everybody! Welcome to Butter No Parsnips. I'm Emily Moyers, and I promise I'm nice.
And I'm Kyle Imperator, and I promise that you'll never know if I'm nice or not. But I also promise, but we've got a great word for you today, Emily.
Oh no. I don't like bully Kyle.
Emily, are you ready for your word punk?
I'm scared, but go for it.
Emily, your word today is ludibrious. Ludibrious. Ludibrious.
Ludibrious. Wow. I've definitely never heard this word in my life, but it immediately feels like a word that I should be able to break down.
I know you have heard this word, but the context in which you've heard it, you would have not have known what it meant.
When have I heard it? Oh,
we'll talk about it later.
That made it sound like there was someone in the room that wasn't allowed to know in what context I've heard this word. We'll talk about it,
a secret conversation. Yeah. The rest of the episode, the people listening, they're not allowed to know.
So it gotta be an adjective.
It is an adjective, yes.
With the -ius ending.
Yeah. Yep.
My immediate thought, which I think is on the wrong track, the lud at the beginning, I'm thinking ludos, as in games. You made a face like I might be right.
That is a correct track to be on, Emily.
Okay. In that case, based on the bully question, does ludibrious mean someone who jests, someone who jibes?
As an adjective?
Oh.
What does that mean?
Liable to tease?
Yeah, basically. In a meaner way. Yes. That's pretty much on the money. I don't think you could have gotten any closer. So nice job, Emily.
Hey,
good job.
I'll take
Fantastic.
It. So what does it mean exactly?
Ludibrious has two meanings. It can mean apt to be a subject of jest or mockery, ridiculous, shameful, reproachful. Or it can mean the opposite, full of scorn, inclined to scoff, scornful or mocking.
That's so annoying.
The person who is being mocked can be ludibrious, and the mocker can be ludibrious.
I think about that a lot with the word suspicious. If you say he is suspicious, it can mean both he is acting suspiciously or he is suspicious of someone else. And that annoys me so much.
I love it. I live my life in vagaries and vagabonds. Yeah, Emily, the place that you've heard this before is, I can't remember which episode, and it's not important, but in a Patreon episode, Seth jokingly calls us that in the intro, and I was like, darn it, now I can't do this word. And then I was like, I mean, yeah, I guess I can. No one's gonna know what it means.
Let that inform you, audience, how long Kyle has like words backed up for. He got this word so long ago, he doesn't even remember which episode. And again, Patreon episodes are monthly. So we're talking about several months back that he got this word and already had it. It came across it several months ago.
Yep. I'm planned into 2055, I think. So, Emily, you guessed it correctly. Ludibrious comes from Latin. And though the path that it took is a bit muddied, we know for sure it is related to the verb ludo, to play a game or sport, to frolic, behave playfully, to practice, amuse oneself with, to sport or play amorously, to mock or mimic, to tease or ridicule, or to deceive, delude, trick, take advantage of, all meanings of ludo in the Latin.
Wow. I did not know it meant that many things.
It means so many things. There's so much to talk about that we cannot cover in this episode, perhaps in a future episode.
Does ludo come from like a god or somebody, or is it just a word?
It's just a word. We believe that ultimately it can be traced back to one of two Proto-Indo-European roots, either the root laid, which means to let or allow, or to let go or release, I guess in the sense of to like release your inhibitions and have fun.
Feel the rain on your skin.
Feel the rain on your skin. Or the root leg, which meant to jump around, run around, to play or frolic, or to shake, jitter, or dance. Which, possible.
Yeah.
Emily, tell me more about what your familiarity with the prefix Ludo is.
There's like a modern game called Ludo, right?
Yeah, it's actually not so modern. It's a classic board game, classic enough that Ludo has just come into like modern English to mean that type of game. Do you know why you and I know Ludo?
No, because I don't know if I've ever played the game Ludo.
The reason why you and I know Ludo is because Cluedo, which is the British name of Clue, the board game, is a pun on Clue and Ludo. It's a portmanteau of those two words.
I didn't know that.
That's where, and in America, they were like, they've never played Ludo. Just call it a Clue.
That's fair.
Yeah.
Wow. I mean, I'm glad to finally know why Cluedo is called that. Because it's a weird name to just have dough on there.
Yeah.
They made the right call in chopping that off for us Americans. But I brought up Ludo as a word segment whenever I was talking about hagiography, which means it must have been calumny.
Episode 9, calumny.
Episode 9, calumny. In our game, I talked about what a ludography is, which is like if someone's filmography is all the movies that they've made, someone's ludography is all the games that they made, and someone's discography is all the music that they've made.
You got it. It's the oeuvre of a game designer. It can also mean just more generally a list of games.
Sure.
Yeah. Fantastic memory there, Emily, because episode 9's way back for us.
It's true, but it's stuck in my head. Ludo is a good root.
Is there another word that might be related to ludibrious here that you could think of with the ludo prefix?
Ludicrous?
Emily, the most recognizable relative here is the word ludicrous, which can mean given to jesting, trifling, frivolous, or suited to occasion derisive laughter, ridiculous, idiotic, or unthinkable, or an earlier obsolete sense, which we will get to in short order.
Oh, okay.
Fun stuff. So one of the paths that ludibrious may have taken comes through the noun form of the Latin ludo, ludus, which in ancient Rome referred generally to a play, game, diversion, or pastime, the ludus. But when used in the plural, ludi usually referred more specifically to a set or festival of public games, or ludi publici. Can any public games come to mind, Emily?
I mean, my first thought was the Olympics.
Emily, that's a fantastic first thought. So, prior to the Romans, the ancient Greeks held religious festivals to honor the gods, the four major ones being now collectively referred to as the Pan-Hellenic Games, because they were across
Greece,
right?
Yeah.
The 4-year cycle of ancient Grecian games was called the Olympiad because each game was named after the city that it took place in. And it began with the famous Olympic Games in the first year in honor of Zeus, followed by the Nemean Games in honor of Zeus again, then the Pythian Games in honor of Apollo, and finally the Isthmian Games in honor of Poseidon. Those weren't called ludi in ancient Greece, obviously, because they didn't use Latin, but sometimes the ancient Romans did refer to the Panhellenic games as ludi, as the ludi publici. But in ancient Rome, the ludi seem to have similarly begun as ludi votivi, or votive games, right?
Like religious worshipful games?
Yes, exactly. And the first state-sponsored games and the chief Roman festival in ancient Rome were the Ludi Romani, or Roman games played in honor of Jupiter, i.e. the Rezeusening.
Yeah. So those be like Colosseum events?
Partially, that would have been a part of it. So there were many types of games performed at these festivals. There's like 1 million types of ludi, of festivals, of games that they had in ancient Rome. But the late antiquity scholar Isidore of Seville, in his Etymologiae, or etymologies, lists 4 overarching types of games that would have been participated in at these festivals. They are the Ludi Gymniki, or athletic games, Ludi Circenses, or circus games, that is, games held in the circus, which was a large open-air track, rounded track, usually used for chariot races. The Ludi Gladiatori, or gladiatorial games, and interestingly enough, the Ludi Scenici, or theatrical games, plays, drama.
Oh, that's fun. Can you say that first one that you said again?
Ludi Gymniki.
Is that funny vowel that's like sort of between a U and a Y? And is that where we get Jim? Is it?
Yeah, it's just Gymniki, but that's how they pronounce their Y's silly in ancient Rome. So.
Yeah, it's that sound that's like you make your mouth in the shape of a U, but you say an E behind it.
Yeah, it looks like Gymnichi.
Yes, that's fun.
Yeah.
It's like gymnastics, theater, gladiators, and circus.
Which is interesting because like the original Olympic Games had artistic games as a part of it, So it was there's a history behind it.
Fund the arts.
Fund the arts. But also something that we can't talk about today, but fascinating in of itself, is that this etymological history may have influenced the sense development of the English words sport, game, and play, because all of those mean like sports in the sense that you're playing a sport, but like games and like you're having fun, and play as in a theater play that you play, and like it's all intertwined, man.
Yeah.
It's fascinating.
Wow, that's good.
But from here, the Latin ludus gained a transferred sense, meaning a thing done in play or sport, and yielded the Latin adjective ludicare, or ludicrus, or ludicrae, which means done in sport or play.
So that's ludicrous.
Ludicrous, then, when it first came to English in the 1600s, meant just that, pertaining to play or sport, though it maintained the derisive joking sense that the Latin would later gain, but it just meant about sport, about play.
That's so fun.
Isn't that crazy?
But it makes so much sense, because it is just it's the same as ludibrious, just with the different suffix.
With the different suffix, just because it came through like different formation in Latin.
Wow. Excellent.
Take, for example, Emily, the introduction to English clergyman Ralph Knevitt's 1631 play Rodon and Iris, first performed at that year's Florists Feast. That's where it was first performed, and it's only important to know because the play begins with an impostor and a witch seemingly deriding the very people that the piece is dedicated to and for whom it was assumedly performed, which was the Society of Florists. The which, I think, says, whose pompous celebration hath wont to eclipse all feasts besides the Olympian games and Isthmian plays, with all those ludicrous and ludibrious combats, are but mere puppet plays to this grand feast.
I love, and I say this with all the sincerity in the world, the idea of a florist who is a witch.
Who's a witch?
I want it so bad. It's my
Witch
next
florist.
D&D character. And I
There you
also
go.
love the idea of a florist's feast as like
A
the
florist's
hot
feast.
ticket.
That
Like, then it's the next
that a
Met
play would be
Gala.
commissioned for. Yeah. And that they're making fun of, that they're like, you think your feast is going to be hot stuff. You know?
The hoi polloi.
Yeah. So the Latin ludus also gained the transferred sense, something done in sport, jest, joke, or fun. And the Latin phrase ludos facit, literally to make games, meant to make sport of, to make a game of, to banter, jeer at, mock. And this brought the noun ludibrium, meaning mockery or derision, or laughingstock, or toy or plaything, and then the adjective ludibriosus, meaning full of mockery or scorn.
Wow.
We spent a little extra time on the Latin today, but like there's a thread of how we got there through the Latin.
Yeah, that's good. I like
Right.
that.
So the earliest usage we know of ludibrious in English is aptly then from the English clergyman and theologian John Foxe, Foxe, who may very well have been familiar with the Latin ludibriosus through Church Latin. A devout English Protestant during the Marian prosecutions, in which Mary I tried to undo the English Reformation and renew ties with the Catholic Church,
Hilarious.
Foxe was forced into exile in the 1550s for about half of the decade. He had to escape to Germany because she was just coming after the Protestants.
They just can't get it together religiously over there. Unlike us, who are, of course, reached utopia.
Never any persecution here.
Never.
His persecution and that of his fellow Protestants led Foxe to compile his book Acts and Monuments of These Latter and Perilous Days, which was an unbroken lineage of religious persecution up through his time.
A long one.
A long one, because he started with ancient Rome.
And it never stopped from there forward.
Yeah. I mean, frankly, probably could have predicted a few future ones if he wanted to throw them
Just
in
following the cycles here.
Yeah. The book was first published in 1563, and the work was to be the most popular book in English after the Bible for 100 years, according to historian Robert O. Buckholtz, and near instantly making Foxe England's first literary celebrity.
Wow.
Yeah, real big deal. You know, he
Yeah.
was walking the red carpet or whatever color it would have been, this crimson carpet back then,
Yes. Yep.
taking pictures or
He carved a
woodcuts.
star to put in
Yeah.
with.
yeah, like a Walk of Fame.
But it was just him, because he just did it for himself and said, I'm starting this.
Did you carve your handprints? What are we supposed to do with this, John?
It's just, look at it. Isn't it great? Don't you want this? You want this. I know that you do.
Aren't I so handsome as a celebrity? Pretty soon you're going to start calling handsome people foxes, am I right? Am I right?
No.
Shut up, John. So the fourth edition of his book, published in 1583, was 4 times larger than the Bible and consisted of 2 folios each of 2,000 pages. Historian John N. King calling it the most physically imposing, complicated, and technically demanding English book to appear during the first 2 or 3 centuries of English printing history.
Crazy.
Isn't that insane?
Crazy.
So, one of the persecutions that Fox describes is the excommunication of Holy Roman Emperor Henry IV and his trek to visit Pope Gregory VII at Canossa Castle, Canossa, to beg for forgiveness. That's just where the Pope lived at the time.
Something about Canossa Castle. I guess because it sounds like Kenosha is why it's hitting me as hilarious.
Like a castle in Wisconsin. So funny. No, this is Canossa Castle in Italy. And so Henry makes this walk, probably like this months-long trek to Canossa. And it's known variously as the Walk to Canossa, the Road to Canossa, or the Humiliation of Canossa.
Oh.
Real big thing because partly we don't know if it was like a way for him to rehabilitate his image, like...
If it was just a PR stunt.
Yeah, exactly. But for years, it was played off as like, oh, they made him do that, right? Henry, when he first arrived at the castle, was denied entry from the Pope. And Fox wrote of Henry, was most patiently and publicly suffered this violence with lamentable affliction upon his bare feet, clothed in thin garments in this sharp winter, and was 3 days together at Canusium, made a spectacle both of angels and men, and a ludibrious mocking stock.
Mocking stock is a great word.
It's a good word, right?
Yes, we should all be saying that instead of laughing stock.
Yeah, a
mocking stock has a nice, like, sonic quality to it.
Yeah, so this was like a famous persecution. Famous enough that the phrase "to go to Canossa" later became an idiom meaning either to submit to the Pope or more generally to show humility or be humbled. It means to go to Canossa.
So like to eat crow?
To eat crow. Yeah.
I'm going to Canossa.
I
keep saying Kenosha.
Kenosha. I would love to know what to go to Kenosha means, Emily.
Same thing. Same thing. If you must be full of humility to go to Kenosha. I've never been there. I have nothing against it. I'm sure it's lovely.
It's probably full of cheese curds if I had to take a guess.
Oh, see, now you're staring.
In a good way, in a good way, in a good way.
In a good way. Full of cheese curds in a good way.
So in covering the history of persecution, Fox's work also compiles a number of individuals who became martyrs for their faith because they were obviously persecuted, right?
Sure.
For example, it tells the sad story of Agnes the Virgin, who was beheaded in the 4th century at only the age of 12 or 13, basically for believing in God, because she was a Roman noble actually at the time who was Christian, and that was not the religion at the time.
Yeah, absolutely not.
But Fox says of her, "The youth in schools flock and run together and crave that they may have Agnes, their ludibrious prey."
Wow. So Fox loved this word.
He used it twice. He
loved this word.
He loved that word. Yeah.
He used it more than any other word.
Yeah.
Every other word he only used once in his entire oeuvre.
But the book also notes 312 contemporary martyrs, so martyrs like people who were martyred in his lifetime. And they're known colloquially as the Marian martyrs, which Buchholz states shaped the black legend of Bloody Mary. Like this book and like the violence of the martyrs mentioned during this time influenced her reputation.
I've always wondered which Mary it was, and now I know.
Mary the First. Bloody Mary.
That makes sense. She's the first.
So Emily, because of his coverage of martyrs and specifically the popularity of his listing of the modern martyrs of his time, basically since the book was published, it's been colloquially known as Fox's Book of Martyrs. It's just called that. It's not even called the title that it is anymore.
That's funny because I have sitting on my shelf Martyrs Book of Foxes, and it's just straight 60 plus hotties.
So Fox hated that people did not call it the title of it and that they called it a Book of Martyrs.
Sure.
He tried to correct it in the 2nd edition by flat out stating, "I wrote no such book bearing the title of the Book of Martyrs."
Don't call it that. I didn't write that.
Do not call it that. It's funnier because later, like in the 20th century, a scholar traced back the origin of that name to one of his friends who might have been referencing a book of martyrs that he had been writing himself, but also had Fox's book with him.
Yeah, John, I just don't know who started this rumor that it's called that.
It's just so awful. I'm so sorry. If we find out who that guy is,
I can't even imagine.
He's gonna become a martyr himself. Am I right?
Yeah. Totally.
But worse than his hatred of the calling of the name of it, Emily, he was called names for it. The book and Fox were soon found to be the subjects of Catholic ludibry. For example, Fox's peer, the Catholic priest Thomas Harding, called the book "that huge dunghill of your stinking martyrs, full of 1,000 lies."
That huge dunghill.
Yeah. They hated this book.
Wow.
Yeah. They hated this
Literally
book.
called it a pile of crap. That's so funny.
Yeah. And there was a lot of discourse because there was so much pushback by Catholics. Then there started to be this kind of current of people not trusting the legitimacy of the book and of his sources. And he had to keep reiterating, like, no, this is where I got my sources from. Like, I'm not making this up. Stop calling it a lie. And more recently, there's been, like, in the 20th century, early 1900s, there was like a better edition published. And so finally scholarship is coming back around to be like, all right, yeah, no, it was legitimate.
Yeah. Wow. That's cool.
But post Fox's Not Book of Martyrs, Ludibrious was then mainly used in the context of religious or political mockery.
That makes sense. I could see this. I could see where this is going.
So it can be used to refer to something itself, which is the subject of mockery. For example, Bayazid I was the Sultan of the Ottoman Empire until his capture by Turco-Mongol conqueror Timur, who traveled with him in an iron cage, used him as a footstool, and forced him to eat scraps under the table, of which English clergyman Thomas Beard remarked in 1597, "To what a miserable and ludibrious end came he."
Yeah, it sounds like it.
Yeah.
That sounds like really what a Disney villain would do.
Yeah. He also made him watch his wife serve him food topless. Like, it was bad. It was like a well-known humiliation.
Yikes.
Yeah.
Okay.
Or ludibrious can refer to the mocker, as when Samuel Purchas described the crucifixion of Jesus in 1619, writing, "Of the soldiers' geniculations, thorny coronation, and ludibrious gesticulations, the priests mocking their ludibrious sport at his cry."
What is geniculation as opposed to gesticulation?
Yeah, so gesticulation is like hand motions, right? Geniculation is your kneeling. Like, to kneel down is a gesticulation.
Like genuflect.
Yeah, I guess that is where the gen and genuflect comes from, probably.
Yeah. That's good. I like that word. It's crazy to think about making fun of a guy while he's being nailed to a cross.
But that's what they did. That's what persecution is, Emily. That's
I know.
That's how religions get started, man.
Yeah.
At least this one.
Yes.
Ludibrious can also be made into an adverb to mean in a ludibrious manner, as when Richard Harris in 1614 decried the words of priest Martinus Beccanus, who he called so unlearned a slug, saying, "If any silly fellow were to use Beccanus's logic, should he not, as a ridiculous ass, be ludibriously exploded?" Should he not?
I love that usage of this word has been silly from the beginning.
From the beginning.
We use it to talk about mocking and horrible religious persecution, but always with a little bit of flair. It can also take the form of the mass noun ludibry, Ludibry. I heard you use that earlier. That's good.
Yes, which means derision or contempt. Here's a throwback. John Bastwick, the Puritan doctor who lost his ear in episode 44 Ingordigious, denounced his detractors in 1637 for relegating Puritans as but the offscouring of the world, brought upon every stage and into the pulpit as fittest for ludibry by the players, priests, and prelates.
You know, it makes sense to me to link this word with that man and like the outrageous quotes that we talked about in Gordigious.
And his just complaining of other people.
Yes.
I mean, the book that he wrote was called His Litany.
His Litany.
Because it was just his list of complaints.
That's a good, hey, folks, if you haven't heard that one, that's a good one.
And that quote was from the, addendum to his litany.
This makes sense.
Ludibry can also concretely refer to an object of derision, as when 17th century minister Robert McWard wrote, "By popish artifice, the most renowned court in the world is made the ludibry and laughingstock of the earth."
Excuse me, it's mocking stock?
I know, they're, interchangeable there. But ludibry and laughingstock have the alliteration there.
That's true. All right, you get a pass.
You got to slip mocking in the sentence somewhere else.
Yeah.
To get the uck. And
yeah.
Lastly, Emily, ludibrious can be used in a transferred sense, as was made infamous in American diplomat Joel Barlow's 1807 national epic Columbiad, described variously as one of the strangest pieces of literature produced by a 19th century American, one of the most complete failures in American poetic history, and unreadable.
Those are all things that should be attributed to anything related to Columbus.
I mean, basically, he was creating a muse, a god figure, Columbia, to wistfully, but all of the characters in this poem are abstract concepts made into people.
A classic trope.
American people. Yeah.
I'm glad that it's unreadable, though.
It is unreadable. So this quote he talks about genius as a person, and critics on both sides of the pond harped on Barlow's apparent neologizing. They were like, he's making up a ton of words in this. We hate that he's making up a ton of words, but a lot of it wasn't made up words. They just didn't know there were earlier senses of it. And so ludibrious is one of those words.
Oh.
And the passage that he says it in is, "No more recumbent o'er his fingered style, genius plods whole years each copy to compile, leaves to ludibrious winds the priceless page, or to chance fires the treasure of an age."
Wow.
The hell does that mean? There's no, the context surrounding it does not help.
Yeah, it's once you make the decision to go into rhyming verse, then you're really limited yourself a lot, and you got to have the chops to back it up.
You've got to have the chops, and Barlow did not have the chops. Sorry, Barlow, you did not become an American great. I don't know what your diplomacy was like as a diplomat, so
I hope that was good enough.
He's actually the reason why we're at war with Luxembourg constantly. He trashes them in the poem. But Emily, we now know ludibry to be a timeless affair with sportive roots that I hope seem a bit less ludicrous than before we began today. So it is time, Emily, for me to go to Canossa and beg you to make a mockery of something by using ludibrious in a sentence.
Yeah. Yep. I am a big fan of the Saturday Night Live cold opens, which are a ludibrious take on the news of the week.
Fantastic, Emily. What a timely and timeless use of that word.
Yeah.
Why don't we play a game together?
Okay.
A Ludo, if you will.
A Ludo.
Emily, your game today is called Lewd Content Warning. So while lewd isn't well known as a prefix, as a suffix, we use it every day.
Oh.
So for this game, I'm going to read some mocking reviews. You'll have to guess the censored suffix lewd words and their related forms. Are you ready?
Okay. Yeah, I'm excited.
You've got 3 to go for today. This quote is from a review of the film Sharp Stick, and the review is entitled The Babysitter's Schlub. And the quote is, "These scenes are too humorless for satire and too artificial to support the film's eventual blank attempt to shift into a somewhat sincere coming-of-age tale."
Oh.
So this is a form of a word that ends in lewd. This use of it doesn't end specifically in lewd, but it's a form of that word.
Oh, convoluted.
No. Convoluted
Crap.
is Luted.
Yeah, but I thought maybe it was related.
It's not. The prefix used for this word means down in Latin.
Oh. Sub. That means under. Down. I don't think I got this one, Kyle.
Emily, the word is deluded or delude.
Just diluted. Okay. Yeah. I was overthinking. I was going for
Way
too many
overthinking
syllables.
it. Yep.
Yeah.
So deluded or to delude means to deceive, from the Latin deludo, meaning to deceive or dupe, or to mock, from that de prefix meaning down, essentially to play to one's detriment.
Oh,
Deluded.
that makes so much sense, but I never would have connected that. That's good.
That's good. The other 2 are good, but harder. So let's see if you're going to get these.
I'm excited.
Emily, from a review entitled Claire Foy and Paul Bettany Can't Lift Amazon's Gloomy A Very British Scandal Divorce Tale, the quote is, "Neither are aflame in each other's presence for enough time to allow the audience to form any blank about love lost." I'll tell you that the form of this word is the sion ending, the present tense noun.
But I
form.
assume it's not delusion because we just did deluded.
It's not delusion, no.
To form any blank about conclusion?
Nope.
Collusion?
Nope.
Can I get the prefix hint again?
Prefix is from a Latin prefix meaning at or upon.
I feel like I should be able to get these, but they're just not clicking in my head.
It's okay, it's hard to get them out of context. The word is illusion or illude, ILLUDE, which is an obsolete form of illusion, but
right.
To illude meant to trick or give a false impression, from the Latin illudo, meaning to mock or ridicule, using the Latin prefix in, meaning at or upon.
Okay. All right.
Yeah, at play.
I won't ask about elude in case it's the answer to the next one, but
it's not the answer to the next one.
Does it come from X, like out?
That's exactly
'Cause it's getting
Emily.
away?
It means to play away, to play out.
To dance out.
Yep, elude.
These are great.
To trick, in the sense they all mean trick in a trick or deceive or mock or
Yeah.
All right, Emily, here's your last one, and I think you're gonna get it.
I'm gonna get this one.
From a review of the Harvey Weinstein scandal play Complicity, the review entitled A Muddled #MeToo Drama, the quote is, "It is an unhappy irony that in a play about blank, they could not blank on a house style."
Oh, collusion?
Collusion! You got it, Emily!
Oh, what a relief.
Collusion or collude, meaning to conspire, from Latin colludo, meaning to play with.
To play with.
From the Latin con, meaning with.
There we go. Kyle, I love that game, and I never would have connected any of those words with like gaming or trickery or play, but they all make sense, and I love it.
It's crazy how many more there are. Anything that ends in lude, prelude, interlude, quaalude, which is interesting.
Quaalude!
But that's a story for another episode.
Wow. Great stuff, Kyle. And a good usable word. I love a good word that you can immediately just start working into your vocab.
Which is most of the making fun of ones.
That's true. I guess that's true. But, we're a couple of jokesters. We're a couple of police.
Gamesters, police.
Hey, everybody. Remember, you can watch us on YouTube at Butter No Parsnips, and you can find Butter No Parsnips on other social media, on Facebook and Instagram at Butter No Parsnips Podcast, and on TikTok at Butter No Parsnips. And if you liked today's episode, consider giving us a 5-star rating or review wherever you heard us.
And if you really liked today's episode, consider donating to our Patreon at patreon.com/butternoparsnips. Donating $5 or more gets you exclusive access to Buttered Parsnips, our After Hours podcast.
Thanks so much to all of you. You help us make what we make.
And with that, I've been Kyle Imperator.
And I've been Emily Moyers, and this has been Butter No Parsnips.
Butter No Parsnips is produced by Seth Klicksman, Emily Moyers, and myself, Kyle Imperator. The main and accompanying themes were composed by Kyle Imperator.